recording now?
Yeah, flashing a red light and everything. I'm taking it off.
Woohoo! Sexy bitch. Alright, I
There we
can't
go.
see past the shaft, but how do I look?
Well, it's about as good as it's going to get.
You can't make a silk purse out of cells here?
You could probably come a little bit closer with your COVID touch.
I don't have COVID anymore, Mark.
You did have COVID.
I did have it this time.
How are you feeling now?
You
You seem mostly all right.
I feel okay. I feel okay. Yesterday, I was still not like fully 100% back with energy.
Right.
But, you know,
More or less.
getting there. Every day's a little bit better. You can only get better. You know, I can't get better.
The rugby.
Yeah, that was good. We could do real, like, nice little segments.
God. We're finally seeing each other.
Yeah, I know. Have you missed me?
The Rugby World Cup started. Yeah, I missed this.
Yeah.
My wife didn't. Like, when I told her I'm not going to Tony's today, she was like, friggin' A, help with the kids, put them to bed.
Right.
Yeah.
So your wife was quite okay with me being away.
She was quite okay with you having COVID, for sure.
All right. Okay. Well,
She was loving every second of it.
nice one. Glad I could do that for you, Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you appreciated that. Well, yeah. Had the COVID. Was down in Queenstown the week before, and Queenstown was where I got the COVID.
Then you brought it back to Auckland, and you
Yes,
spread it
and I
around your
gave it
birthday
to
party.
I gave it to my family. I gave it to my daughter. My partner didn't get it, but she gave it to my ex-wife.
Right.
And-
That's a bit of revenge. Thinking up, yeah.
I like her a lot, and she gave it to her little baby brother too.
Nice. Oh, the little fella.
Yeah, Henry got it. Poor old Hen.
First time for him, hey?
Yeah. He hasn't been alive that long. And then
I met Henry when he was still in a belly.
where he was
Unborn child.
pre-birth, I think.
Yeah,
is
pre-birth, but-
pre-birth is
but-
the political correct way to do
Okay,
it.
yes.
Because it's very offensive to
Yeah, I
call
know.
them.
Unborn,
You know,
unborn child.
unborn. Who gives you the right to say someone's unborn? It's pre-birth.
Okay.
God, get woke, bro. You know, but yes, great to see you, Mark. And look, first time we're getting together in this Rugby World Cup of 2023.
We're already halfway through the bloody thing.
We're halfway
Like
through
24 out of 48 games have been played.
Oh, well, we're halfway through the pool stages.
No, we're more than halfway through the pool stages. We're halfway through
right.
the total number of games.
So there's only one more round of the pool stages.
2 more rounds.
Okay, right.
One could argue that the coming games are going to be more potentially higher quality than the
Although
games
we
we've
had
seen.
our first big time casualty today.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
I'm wearing their gear and drinking their beer. Didn't
Did
even
I-
mean to make that rhyme. This is Great Northern.
Do you want me to show them the bottle?
It's just-
hold on.
Okay.
A sec.
I bought this beer.
You keep them busy, okay?
I bought
I'm just
this.
leaving.
I bought this beer especially. There's this little story behind this beer. If anyone's been around the channel for an extended period, will remember a guy. I talk about him in the past tense because he doesn't seem to be online anymore. But there's a guy named Big Will.
Big Willie?
Big Will was a regular on the 2 Cents channel back in like 2018, 2019.
Like used to have him on?
No,
He's
but he
a
was
big
just like
commenter.
he was a big commenter. Like all his comments were always he's a Kiwi guy living in Australia, picture of a stupid looking sheep. And his insights were on the money. Like
Yeah,
great.
right.
And then speaking of money, whenever I do a live stream, he would always chuck me heaps of cash.
So you're a fan of Big
I was
Will.
a fan of Big Will.
Don't you hate it when you've got a really good contributor and they just go AWOL?
Yeah, well, he said that like
Maybe you went to prison.
he used to go to the bar to watch all the games, but
Yeah.
then he started just coming on the live streams instead.
Oh.
And his missus was really happy because he was saving heaps of money from not spending all this money at the pub.
But
So he would
spent-
chuck money my way.
Oh, nice.
Right? He was a great... Everyone loved him. Like, whenever he would come onto this... It was like Cheers, an episode of Cheers.
Norm!
Yeah, it was honestly like that. Whenever
yeah.
Big Will would jump on the show, he was like, hey! And then he started doing his own thing on Twitter, like where he was like more of like trying to drive conversations and get into the odd argument with like Morgan Turanuri and all those
right.
things. But the one thing, Big Will, he always drank Great Northern.
Right.
But I was never able to find it here in NZ, but I finally found some. So I thought, in honor of Big Will and the...
To you, Big Will.
and the Aussie rugby scene, we shall drink some Aussie beer. But
The
damn, they
Aussie
had a hard day
disaster.
at the office.
Oh, they did. They did. I've had a few Great Northerns whilst I was in Australia.
That's my first Great Northern ever.
To be fair, they're just piss weak water, really.
It's quite weak, yeah. I saw a 3.5%, and I was like, oh, I thought Big Will would have been made of tougher stuff.
No, but I think you're probably just like, they're smashable.
Right.
They're smashable beer, but
Right.
they don't have a lot to them in terms of their taste.
Right.
and or their alcoholness.
Yes.
So,
This
but,
said
you know,
like
it's
low bitterness on the bottle, like it's
Yeah.
a thing to sell at a selling point.
Yeah.
Like this is bland. Buy me.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Like some white guys just want a bland beer. You know, this would be good on a hot day.
Oh,
you
for
know?
sure.
Things are
He
heating
was
up.
in Queensland, so maybe
Yeah, this is a Queenslandish beer.
Right.
Yeah, Great Northerner.
makes sense.
Yeah. How northern is northern? It's not like Darwin or anything, is
No.
it? Noosa? Somewhere in Queensland?
Up in Cairns.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. Well,
crocodiles.
good old Big Will. And sorry to the people
I don't know
of
why
Australia.
he disappeared off the face of the earth, old Big Will. Closed his Twitter
Oh.
account. Never seen him on the channel for a couple of years now.
Maybe he went to prison.
Maybe he went to prison.
If you're in prison and you're watching this, Big Will, and you don't have access to a computer, how are you watching this, number one?
We remember you, though. You're a good contributor back in the day.
Now you're talking about him like it's
Like he's dead.
like in memorandum.
It was kind of. He's internet dead.
Mark, he could have.
Nah, he was a young man. I never actually met him. I don't know how old he was.
Yeah,
But,
you think he was young? He could have been a 12-year-old.
no, but his
girl.
Twitter account was deleted. That's an active statement that I'm getting off social media.
All right, he had enough
think.
of it. Yeah,
I
okay,
think.
right.
'Cause Twitter was a bit toxic. That's the path he went down. We're
Yeah,
talking a lot
right.
about Big Will. What about Big Eddie? Big
Is
Eddie Jones.
Is that the game we're going to kick off with?
I think so. Then we're going to get into South Africa, Ireland.
Okay.
But 40
And then we'll
points
get
to
into the rest
6. That was the most recent game for us. It was 8 o'clock in the morning here in NZ.
Yeah.
And it was a do or die game for the Australians. They had to win, preferably with a bonus point. And they got their biggest ever defeat at a World Cup, biggest ever defeat to Wales.
I think
A Wales side, which everyone said was rubbish, but
they couldn't.
they're
Wales
cruising this pool.
A Wales side that prior to this World Cup couldn't fucking beat an erect penis. Like it was yeah. I don't know if they're looking really good or Australia are just that bad. But this is truly Australia's darkest day. Definitely of our lifetime. I can't remember a worse moment. We're talking about a team that in 1999 had won 50% of all the World Cups that had happened at that stage. And now they're a team that is almost what you would consider tier 2 in terms of their talent ability, their talent that's actually coming through the ranks, the quality of their professional sides, and also the quality of their national team. And they're led by somebody who's a complete charlatan, and an absolute bullshit artist of the nth degree, Eddie Jones.
Do you think he's finally been found out?
Oh, he's a total bullshitter. Like a bullshitter is not someone who's like goes out just to tell lies, but just will say whatever needs to be said in any moment to make that interaction easier. So, like, how confident are you guys you're going to win this weekend? I have no doubt whatsoever that we will win the World Cup. What was the strategy behind picking this new team? We needed just say we needed a refresh, or like we needed a restart. Like he's always got an answer, and all those answers, all the big talk, all the big dick energy, it's all bullshit. It's just complete crap. He's like, and I think at the end of the day, he's great for the media in terms of the clicks and the eyeballs he gets. But I think at one stage he may have been a good coach. But he's not a good coach anymore. His tactics have passed him by. His selection criteria was absolute madness. It was so weird watching Hooper back in the studio at Stan's.
Yeah.
Just
Because
going,
we had the Aussie coverage here in New Zealand.
yeah, that was like watching people at a funeral. That coverage.
Yeah,
that was.
I switched
really,
over
really
to ITV not halfway, about an hour into the game when Wales got a penalty where it was like, this is a 3-score lead. They're pretty much dead and buried. And I was like, geez, these guys are just suffering. So I abandoned ship and I went over to ITV. And to be honest, it wasn't a lot better. Some people have told me, no, they weren't being negative, but that's just British like coverage, like very kind of low key. But we get the Six Nations feeds of all those games.
Yeah, and
so I've got a pretty decent dial for where the normal is at, and I feel like they were just a bit apathetic.
Was it a Welsh coverage?
I think the main commentator was an English guy, and then they had
Yeah.
a couple of at least one of the pundits. I think was it Shane Williams on there? They had at least one Welsh pundit, but it was just very, I don't know. It was still more focusing on, oh, geez, Australia's pretty bad, aren't they? Not like, get it there, Wales.
Yeah. I guess when you're watching human beings in general will always focus on the negative, sadly.
I suppose so.
But it was a massive capitulation. But to be fair to Wales, they looked like a world-class outfit. You know, like New Zealand, the All Blacks have not bet the Wallabies to that degree this year.
No.
You know, like they did everything they needed to do. I thought Anscombe came on and played particularly well.
I thought that might have been a troublesome moment when Bigger went off. I was like, ugh, like Gareth Anscombe, injury prone Anscombe.
But then if you look at, like, Anscombe comes on, he's got 36 tests of experience, has won big games in South Africa with a kick.
For sure.
The guy is a quality, former Rosminian, old boy of Rosmini College, one of the greatest schools in the world. And he is, like, he's a quality class player with international experience. Whereas you look at Carter Gordon, I heard the stat on the Squidge podcast the other day. He has played, at that time he'd played 40, but now he's played 41. 41 professional games of rugby. 41 professional games of rugby. Do you know how many of those games he's won?
How many?
10.
Right.
10. And that's the only... Oh, I'm getting a bit wild card here. That's the only first 5 you took? And then you started a guy, Ben Donaldson, who's never played 10 before.
Wildcard said he's played 37 minutes of 10 or something, like in the build-up to this.
That was in this tournament.
Yeah, in this tournament. When he came off the bench. Yeah.
And then you go out and you have all the talk about, like, basically damaged goods, don't want to take them along. And then you fuck up this whole crop of players. They're
going to be scarred.
The mental scarring on these players is going to be horrific. And still have the audacity to say this is so good for them. You know, this will be a massive learning experience. Yeah, adversity can be a learning experience, but absolute, you know, brutal. What's the word of abuse? No, it's a traumatic experience can be really bad. For like 80% of people, PTSD fucks people up.
Yeah.
Whereas 20% of some people can like rise from the ashes, but it's not good for Australian rugby. There are so many problems across Australian rugby right now. Like Dave Rennie had them in a position where they lost by 1 point to a full strength French team at the end of last year. Then they flicked them. Like I think that loss to Italy they had last year, like cost them a lot. Like
they were 1 kick away from winning that game. That was Ben Donaldson that missed a kick to win that game for them.
It's just crazy. Like I don't know why.
I'm blaming Ben Donaldson. But
I don't know if it was the Aussie coverage or the fact that we need a strong Australia in this region. That I was actually just watching it, feeling a bit sick. Like it was so brutal.
It was a tough watch
from
that point of view.
They really need to go back to 3 Super Rugby teams. I think having the Force and having the Rebels, they don't have the cattle to have 5 professional teams over there. They were so much better when it was the Reds, the Tars, and the Brumbies.
Winning cultures.
You know, winning cultures, teams that, you know, they could have the cream of the crop rise to the top, and they could, you know, they were challenging the Crusaders, they were challenging the Blues, they won trophies. All 3 of those teams have won Super Rugby championships. The Rebels, you know, what did they come this year? Like in a year where everybody got through.
Yeah, eight from 12 teams get through. Only the bottom 4 don't get through.
8 from 12.
And that includes Moana Pacifica, who are a weak side.
And to be fair, Western Force, which is another.
The Western Force is it's not a mercenary team, but it's a team built up of...
Someone put a gun to my head right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you a Western Force player. Like, tell me one.
Jeremy Thrush.
Like, Xavier Thrush's brother, or like what? No, Jeremy Thrush's. He's
the former All Black lock.
Oh, and he's a total. What? He was like a good player in 2008 for the Hurricanes. He shouldn't be playing rugby right now for a professional squad. Like, he might have a good talk. Like, it's a dire state of affairs over there, and there's so much freaking talent over there. Like, the NRL has it all. The Union has just gone to the pits over there, and it's bad for our region. It really, really is. Anyway, I never thought I'd feel this stink about Australia being crap, because it's usually like us two have been so great that when they've fallen off, I've been like, yes.
Yeah.
But
I remember when we finally got the Bledisloe back off them, and I was like, Gah!
But now we get it, and it's just like...
Every year it's so blasé, like, oh yeah, we got the Bledisloe.
And then we hear, the same statement from Artie Savere or somebody.
It means everything to us.
It means everything. This is a really important trophy. And they're just playing on the fact that it used to be a really big trophy.
Yeah, it used to be a big deal.
It's a physically big trophy, though.
It is. It's imposing. So yeah, barring a miracle from the Georgians or Portuguese, Australia's going home with the pool.
Yeah, first time in their history. Oh, they deserve it. Really, really sad for those players. Sad for the guys left. Like, where's like Reece Hodge and stuff?
I think he retired. I think he called it quits. I'm pretty sure. But they left Pete Samu. Left Michael Hooper.
He's going to focus on that milk
Quade
business.
Cooper. Jeez.
Yeah.
Like, goodness me. They left some talent back in Australia, didn't they?
They did. And
Eddie's whole thing was, look, these guys have been losing before. So I'm not taking these guys just to go out and lose. You know what I mean? Like, I've got to bring these young guys through. But
we've talked about on the pod how many times Michael Hooper looked like the greatest player. Like, head and shoulders above all the other Wallabies.
Even when the team didn't look great.
He always looked great. And like
Australia in that second half were not at the races.
We haven't talked about the game at all.
How much did they need the likes of a Hooper or a Cooper, like a 50-plus caps guy, just to be like, right, fellas, settle the shit down.
Yeah,
let's get back to basics or whatever that team talk needs to be.
They look like they were all trying their absolute tits off, which is a credit to them, but they just were not cohesive.
Yeah.
The strategy...
Set piece was getting monstered.
Set piece was getting monstered. They're just really... Like, the kicking game was bad. Kicks out on the full. There was one moment, this was in the first half, when they got it back to 6-7 or something like that, and it was it was a bit tragic on the commentary, where there was that 5-metre... They got a penalty. There was a fight. They didn't go for the poles.
They went for the line out.
They went for the line out. And Tim Horan said, "This is the moment. This is when the Australian forward pack show us what they got." And then it was like
tripped over each other.
It was like a fault. It was like a faulty towers, like falling over each other. And then your cousin gets
Jack Morgan kicks the 50-22.
Strides at 10 meters and kicks a 50-22, and there was just actually silence on the broadcast.
What just happened? Yeah.
And then that was what James Maloney said. He said, "What just happened?" Like,
yeah.
And it was just soul crushing.
Yeah.
Like
it was weird. Like, they had a penalty right in front at that moment, and they had been going for the threes up until that point. So I was like, right, these guys are going to go for the win. Like, ideally they need a bonus point.
Yeah, they kind of needed a bonus
point.
They
in all likelihood, they probably needed a bonus point. But without a win, you're absolutely buggered. So I could see why they were going for the threes at first, and then they were like, they realized when they're 7-6 down, oh shit, we better go for bonus points here. Like, why would you not do that either from the get-go? I don't get the mid-game change of plans.
It's madness.
I don't get it.
It's absolutely,
Like, sometimes you see teams, like the first penalty right up front, they're like, nah. Like Ireland in their game, which we'll get to South Africa, they were just like, nah, we're going for mauls. We're going lineouts. Like, it was game plan.
Yeah, they played with real intent then.
So I just don't get, if bonus point was the plan, why not go for it from the outset?
Yeah, I think that's, in the scheme of things, a relatively small issue, though. Just watching the game itself, they seemed like they lost every little micro.
It's not a good smelling beer.
It's not a great beer.
No. I don't think I'll be getting Great Northern again.
Sorry, Great Northern. Australia, you've also got shit beer.
Yeah. This is kind of like,
Florex
smells a bit shitty beer. Smells a bit like shitty
great.
Northern. Yeah. We've got some bad beers here in New Zealand, but
anyway.
Not a great first impression.
It's all of a sudden become a beer. We're not going to get a sponsorship from Great Northern.
Apologies.
That's for certain. But they lost all the little micro battles in the game. It was
all time, scrum time,
and the Welsh looked good.
Yeah,
the Welsh looked good. I really like the look of the number 9. What's his name? I'm going to say
Gareth
Williams
Davis.
or Edwards or Davies. What is it?
Gareth Davis.
Damn it! I was just going to go through my Welsh names.
Yep.
You can say that.
Jack Morgan's looked incredible. Pretty much every game he's played.
He looks worldy. He's like world class. Gotta love him, Morgan. Cousin Jack. Yeah. No,
Send me a jersey, Jack.
Now, he looked like a very, very, very good player. I thought their front row were decimated, the front row of the Australians.
When Slipper was on, the Wallaby scrum actually looked all right.
There was that scrum just before half-time where they destroyed the Australian scrum, and maybe Eddie was like,
well, better take slips off.
The one guy holding it together. He just makes every wrong call. And like all this shit talk about, I take full responsibility for this. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
What responsibility comes with accountability, and that comes with consequences. And what do? They've got a 5-year contract with this Wally.
Is he on a 5-year?
5-year contract.
Isn't there some out clause, I think?
I don't know.
He's been supposedly talking to Japan.
Yes, I heard this, yeah.
He apparently had a Zoom call. Did you see the post-match press conference?
Yeah.
Where they were like, so did you have this call? And he's just like, I'm totally committed to Australian rugby. Like,
he's just
why not say no if it's no? because it's yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, he just kept on saying, "I have no idea what you're talking
No
about."
idea what you're talking about.
And then somebody,
I'm taking umbrage to this line of questioning.
Well,
Umbrage.
because they asked, I was like, "Who could use umbrage?" They asked, "Oh, what's his name? Parecki?"
Yeah.
And they said,
What did you guys think of it?
What do you think of your coach being an absolute arsehole, basically?
Yeah.
I take umbrage to that. Yeah. They got to get rid of him. They've got to get rid of him. Like,
They've wasted so much money.
they're wasted. Like he's going to make a good couple of ads for you. He's going to do a few interesting press conferences. That's going to get you on the front pages of the sports section. But ultimately, you can't grow a game over there, and this is so damaging for that game. These players are players who grew up on the legends of John Eales, Nick Farr-Jones, Michael
had those
Lino,
idols to look up to.
Cam Peasy. What are you going to look? You're going to look up to Michael Hooper, who got pulled at 31, the prime of his life. Like, what incredible moments, what trophies has he been able to hold aloft? Like, it's just very sad. Very, very, very sad over there. And they're coming up for their renewal of their
broadcast
deal, which is likely to be
devalued big time.
Massively. Well, Checo gossip, by the way.
Oh,
there's links with him with the West Tigers for being the GM of football over there.
You try to bring rugby league into this conversation.
There you go.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Well done, Wales.
Good on you, Wales.
Quarterfinal.
Sorry we didn't talk to you about Wales enough. Was there anyone in Wales that you thought?
Jack Morgan.
Gareth
Davis. Anscombe got man of the match.
He played well.
Like you said, the
23?
props.
Yeah.
They played really well.
Everyone played.
Faletau's, big
Faletau just was as solid as he always is.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, when did he start playing? Like 92
I mentioned it, like Wales have, like when Wales beat Fiji, everyone was angry at them. Like, the bloody ref gave you this game.
Yeah.
And then the next week they beat Portugal. They changed their lineup. They scratched through, got a bonus point just barely. So everyone's like, bloody Wales, you suck. And then they finally beat the Wallabies like by this record score. And it's like, geez, the Wallabies are crap. Like, nobody's giving Wales any love.
No one's giving them their due.
Yeah.
Go get your due, Wales. You can't be crap for as long as Wales have been crap and expect everyone to fall over.
Yeah, Wales has had their house has not been in order for a while.
Yeah.
But they seem to be clicking. So good luck to them.
Yeah.
Good luck, Wales.
Go on, Wales. Come around, Beef.
Next game I want to talk about was a certain number 1 in the world, Ireland, up against the number 2 in the world, South Africa.
Yes.
Did you watch that game by any chance?
I did watch that game. Mark Morgan. And I enjoyed it. You could see from the outset it was just a different standard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like I think it was a higher standard than...
I went to see my dad, like, that day. After the game, I dropped my kids off because they took the kids for Saturday, whatever day it was. And his first words to me were, "That's the best game we've seen." Like, just like, he knew it.
It wasn't particularly high scoring.
No, but it didn't need to be. It was one of those ones.
Just savage. It was just brutal.
Relentless from both sides. Either side could have won that game.
Yeah, absolutely. But the Irish deserved to win it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Irish, the thing that I was so impressed by was like a lot of pre-game talk about the 7-1 split, the bomb squad, and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's crazy that they're doing it, and I think it makes everybody nervous. It makes South Africans nervous because it's so bloomin' risky.
Yeah.
And it makes the opponents nervous because if it comes off, it could be wildly dangerous. In that 7-1 split they did in Twickenham, everything went as right as it possibly could have, with Lomax, having out of the game in the first 10 minutes, and also having Barrett lose his freaking head and get red carded.
Yeah.
So our forwards are under pressure from the get go, and then to bring 7 fresh, massive Springboks on, it was just an absolute hiding to nothing. So that's what everyone's impression was of the 7-1 split. So like, bring this, maybe it was bigger in people's minds, but the Irish dealt with it. Like, they got stronger when the bomb squad came on.
Yeah, their work at the breakdown was phenomenal. The Irish work at the breakdown was huge.
Van der Fleer, that was the best I've seen him play.
Van der Fleer was incredible. I mean, even James Lowe was like getting in there. Conor Murray won a turnover. So yeah, all those key experienced guys for Ireland, man, just stepped up. But their line-out was a bit wonky.
Yes. Well,
that's the key. Like, that was the one kind of
It was wonky for the
Negative.
first.
They got it
first 20
right
minutes.
mid-game. Like, they righted it, but geez,
Yeah.
it started badly.
They couldn't win a lineup.
They could have had a decent lead going into half-time based on their first half performance, but because of the line-out, they didn't really get that chance.
Yeah.
That platform.
The old set-piece platform. It's really important. I hear people say, who are much smarter than I am. Yeah, well, they got it right eventually, but yeah, it was an absolute shambles towards the start.
Yeah.
The forward battle was just immense, though, as you kind of say. I was really impressed with Dialendi in the game. Yeah. Like, he's a bit scary.
So Bundy Aki was so good, though, as well. He's playing incredible rugby.
Bundy Aki, I'm thinking about him, like,
when he was playing for the Chiefs.
Circa 2010, 2011, that sort of stuff. Good player.
Yeah.
Did it right. Was in a few highlights. Was in a couple of successful... Was he in the successful era of the Chiefs? I got a feeling he might have been.
Yeah, probably.
But I would put
if you'd asked me who's going to have a bigger career, Nani Laumape or Bundy Aki at international level, I probably would have said Laumape.
Yeah, I probably would have said the same as well. And then, but I put him in like the sort of same category at the time as like, was like Nino Williams or something, you know, that
Tim Williams.
Who had that great step and all that sort of stuff. And, but they were, really good Super Rugby.
Really good Super Rugby player.
Yeah.
Test level might be a bit much for them.
He was
never in the conversation. Not really.
Never in the conversation, but he goes off and freaking, what is it, 100 years later?
But there's a bit of a trend here, though, right?
Saying he's a player of the tournament.
The three Kiwi guys in that Irish squad, Gibson Park.
Got through this awful beer.
Yeah. Gibson Park, Lowe. It's not great. Gibson Park, Lowe, and Aki. None of them were on, like, they were, like, a couple of them played Māori All Blacks.
Yeah.
But none of them you were like, geez, why aren't they picked? There was never outrage that these guys weren't getting picked. They were like, if we get injured, if Julian Savea gets injured, maybe then James Lowe will come into the squad. But they've just taken it up a level when they've gone to Ireland. The coaching, the way they're using them, the identification of their skill sets, I don't know. It's multifaceted. But
Shooter, if you don't get a shot next year,
go to Ireland. Let them improve you.
Yeah, because he's world class, eh? And he's just so low to the ground. He's just
doesn't smell. That's a bad smelling beer. Or
you look like you sniffed a dog's asshole.
Doesn't smell great.
Yeah. Might smell the same.
Yours doesn't smell as bad.
Mine.
I had a bad batch.
Mine was just. Mine wasn't. I wasn't grossed out. It was just like a piss nothing beer. Yeah. Basically. Anyway, we were on a real roll there. He's low to the ground. He's got great power in the contact. Yeah. He seems to have really, really good rugby wits about him now. He's a bit Ma'anono-ish, in terms
really
of
well.
he's player. People are talking about he's kind of almost player of the Irish team right now.
Maybe.
Wowzers. Isn't that amazing? And you know what's amazing? I look at him in the national anthem, and he's like just singing his balls
belting it out.
And they're like, and you know what? If you did grow up in New Zealand and you of island descent, I don't know, what is he, Tongan?
Samoan?
Maybe.
Don't know.
The other
one or the other. I'm apologising.
He's definitely not Fijian.
No, he's not Fijian. He's not Melanesian. He's Polynesian.
Yeah. But yeah, he goes up there and he learns sort of a little bit about falls in love with the game in New Zealand, but he owes this career, this stardom, everything that he's achieving, he owes to Ireland. Yeah. And you'd be incredibly proud of.
For sure.
Of that nation that gave you that. So, you don't have to be from a country to be super connected. So, he is an Irish product now. Like, you made him a better product than
we could, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
He just got flushed, and you wonder about how many of those players there have been in the past.
Well, I mean, it's not just us. Mac Hansen was in the Aussie system.
Couldn't get a contract.
Yeah, he was just on the fringes of the Brumbies.
Yeah, nuts, eh?
Yeah, really crazy. And then he goes over to Ireland and looks like a world beater.
Was Gibson Park, was he on the number? He plays for the Blues, eh?
He played for the Blues, didn't he play for the Canes as well? Because he couldn't.
But
get
he
a
was
just
gig. He was always.
He
on
was
the
all
fringes.
right.
He was.
I've seen people on Facebook now saying, "Oh, he used to be so amazing back when he was in Super Rugby." I'm like, nah, he wasn't that good.
When were you saying that, pal?
Yeah.
I think he was playing in that game when the Blues bet the Crusaders. Oh. When I remember them.
It's a long time ago.
They're so rare. When John Kerwin had just taken over.
Oh, did we beat the Crusaders under Kerwin?
The first time we played them, yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Well done, JK.
I was
Never knew you had it in you.
He shat the
You're a rubbish coach. Sorry to say. You got a better coaching record
Yeah.
than I do, but not by that much.
When are you going to step up to an international level? But before we go on to just dissecting more of that game, what have we got
We're
here?
continuing with the international theme. Managed to get some Windhoek,
Gindig, I think it's how it's pronounced.
some Namibian beer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There we go, Namibia.
Brewed by choice according to the Rheingewacht standards of 1516.
Well, that's great to hear.
There you go.
Were those standards involved with breaking any jaws?
Don't know.
We'll talk about that later. How big of a problem is it, this lack of a kicker? You know, Mani Libok leaving 11 points
Do you
out
need
there.
to, in emergency, break glass and put Andre Pollard in the side?
I think so. But the fear for me is, when I fear for South Africa, Andre Pollard is coming in pretty cold. Like, maybe he'll come in and just smash it. There's probably a pretty good chance he will.
That's got a bit of aroma to it.
It does. Smells
Hoppy.
like pork.
Okay.
Oh no, maybe this one has pork notes, perhaps. Does that say it in the description? Okay, but yeah, I think they're going to bring him in. Do you think he'll do a job? Do his thing?
I mean, class is class, right? I'm just spilling beer on the floor,
But that's
by the
okay.
way.
But form, they say form is temporary, class is permanent.
That's the one.
But do you think he's going to have form when he comes in? Oh, what kind of head is that, my man? Do you want a little beer with your head?
Well, I saw some video the other day about
And that's how you're supposed to do it?
pouring a beer slowly,
Yeah.
like leaves all like the bubbles and shit, like in the beer. So when you drink it, you get bloated because it all expands in your stomach. So you're supposed to pour it a bit faster
Oh, yeah.
to let it do its thing. But the guy who poured it in the video didn't make it look like that. His looked much nicer than the way I just poured it.
Oh.
So yeah,
Should we compare then? You hold yours to the camera, I'll hold mine.
like I said, this is not a practiced pour. I watched a video the other day on YouTube. Yay for YouTube.
Well, you obviously... What was it about the thumbnail that made you click on that beer?
It was probably something like, "You won't believe how you've been pouring beer wrong," or something like that. I don't know. I should do more video titles like that.
Yeah.
You won't believe.
You won't believe how Eddie fucked this up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Although one of the things you have to click when you go through and you're submitting a video is, does your thumbnail have any swear words in it? And,
Sure.
And I've had to say yes sometimes.
But yeah, the box missed a lot of points from the boot. Faf missed a couple. Mani missed a couple. It was, I think, 11 points they missed from the boot.
Yeah.
Which, given that game...
Which is very un-South African in a way.
South Africa, like, when you think stereotypical South Africa, I'd be thinking a big bloody forward pack.
Yeah.
And a Mornay Stain or somebody like that.
Who can
who's
kick him
just
from
gonna
60.
Kick him from 60 and kick him
Every over.
85, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much as safe as houses. He's going to slot him from the sideline. They might not score as many tries as you, but they're going to kick those bloody goals, and that might be enough. And usually at World Cups, there's at least a couple of games, this one's an example, where the team without the goal kicker, like you think to back about like great World Cup winning sides, like Stransky, Wilkinson, Carter, like all these teams who had a great goal kicker.
That's right.
That's a common theme,
You can't
right?
think of a team who's won the World Cup that didn't.
Well, they
have
just
a-
scored the shit out of all the tries.
Yeah, they didn't even need to get the conversions.
Yeah.
Like
maybe the 87 All Blacks. That's going a bit back far from my
They had
memory.
Foxy.
Oh, he was a pretty useful goal kicker.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
He's a one first five that wasn't an amazing, wasn't the greatest attacking threat, but just
No, he scored very few tries.
Very,
Yeah, no,
really
I remember watching
missed a
him
kick.
playing for Auckland back in those Ranfurly Shield glory days, and like we could just like he'd get a kick, and you're like, "Oh, we got this."
There you go. I remember being at the Domain of Pain, Oniwa, and seeing him score a try right in front of me and being super pissed about it. 'Cause,
Right.
You know, it wasn't great.
I think he scored one for the All Blacks once, and they got.
By the way,
called-
I support North Harbour, which is not. I live in Auckland. I'm an Aucklander, but there are two teams in Auckland. There's North Harbour for people across the bridge,
and Grant Fox played for Auckland, so
and arseholes like Mark over here support Auckland.
there you go. But I
Whereas-
think he scored a try for the All Blacks once, and they got called back because the touchy had his flag up.
Wasn't there some sort of controversy about the ball boy being involved in that
Yeah, I
somehow?
can't remember.
I remember there was some sort of shit about
There's
that.
so much rugby, and yet we're talking about all this.
Yes, I know. Well, more about the 87 team.
Yeah.
Where were we? So with that,
that's way better than Great Northern. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
yeah, it actually tastes like a beer. But that South African team still looks the goods to me.
Oh, yeah.
It could still be a team that goes on and wins this World Cup. I get a lot of shit from South African commenters. They think I hate them. I don't hate them. I just really don't want them to win.
Before we turned the camera on, weren't you just like, yes, hate those bloody South Africans, go Ireland?
Oh, there it is.
Some people
it is recording. It is recording.
Some people are going to
yeah,
take
but you
me
shouldn't
seriously.
tell them that. You should, I really don't want South Africa to win this World Cup because it's when you're. I want us to win, and then
Then you want Ireland to win.
I want Ireland to win, which puts me in a very difficult position in terms of the quarterfinals now.
It's win-win.
It's lose-lose. But yeah, you don't want the same team that's not you to win over and over again. You know,
it's like the Crusaders or whatever. Nobody wants to see the Crusaders win it again, except for the Crusaders fans.
If like the Hurricanes versus the Crusaders,
Hurricanes all day long.
Diehard Canes in that game.
Yeah,
you know, like who wasn't cheering for the Chiefs in the final this year? So yeah, I don't want to say that, but they're a very quality rugby side who's got a very, very good chance of winning it. I don't think they're as much of a favourite as they are going to be a hard team to beat, especially if they get a kicker. But still, no Malcolm Marks. Still questions around 10.
Yeah.
Still the loss a lot of Kanye.
What does that do for Marnie Libbok's confidence if they just drop him and put him Pollard? Is that just saying, sorry, son?
I think they're pragmatic enough and ruthless enough just to do it. You know, I'm sorry about your feelings, but that's just the way it's going to be.
Speaking of their feelings, have you watched the press conferences where they get asked about the goal kicking and they really don't like those questions?
Yeah, even
Sia and Jacques both don't like the questions about it.
Well, why don't they like that? It's just
I guess because it's singling out individuals, but yeah.
But you can single out an individual positively. You can be like, so-and-so played incredibly well. You'd be like, when so-and-so kicked the ball out of the field.
It happens. Like, you know, if the line-out's rubbish, they get asked about the line-out.
Yeah.
If the goal kicking not there...
I heard, this is an absolute wild speculated rumor, and I don't know where I heard it from. I completely not connected to anything, but say in the comments where it may have come from, if you may have heard it, or if there's any credence to it. But Marnie Libbok and Andre Pollard have had the old contentious confrontation with each other on a few occasions. Not the best mates. But don't act like it's the truth. Like put it out.
I never heard that before. I'm gonna jump
I don't know
online.
Where I heard it. I don't know where I heard
rumor.
it, and I don't know where it was sourced. But
maybe you just dreamt it.
I heard that, and I've officially spread a rumor then, haven't I?
There you go.
And then can someone else can watch what I've said and said I heard it somewhere.
There you go.
And I don't know where I heard it from, so don't take it from me, people.
Oh, every team's got people who don't get on.
Yeah, 100%.
That's for sure.
The All Blacks have got Dane Coles. No one likes him.
Nobody likes him. New Zealand rugby players genuinely voted him like the least liked, right? The biggest grub. So the
biggest pest.
Yeah, people just don't like him.
Yeah.
Because he's a bit of a dick.
For old Colesy.
But yeah. 13-8. Both. If that was a final at the end of October, you would not be surprised.
It was high quality.
It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
You'd kind of like to see them meet again just because of how good that game was.
But I don't want
despite the goal kicking, despite the line-out issues.
It was a much high quality game than France New Zealand, wasn't it?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah, I think both of those teams would have been both of
France and New Zealand that day.
On that day, yeah.
Okay. Do we move on to France?
France,
Namibia. The main talking point is basically
it's not the massive scoreline and the.
I mean, it was 96-0. 96-0 is a horrendous scoreline, but goodness me, what a face smashing!
And that is, this rugby tournament is a bit cursed for world class players.
Yeah, Malcolm Marks,
Lekanua,
ran into Mac. Now bloody Antoine Dupont. They haven't
lost anyone.
They haven't given a timeline for how long he's going to be out for.
I heard,
but there's a bit of speculation. 4 weeks,
quarters or semis.
Yeah, and they're going to get to the semis first.
And they've got to get through a quarterfinal through South Africa. If you're South Africa, right? The last 4 times you've played the All Blacks, you've lost twice. You know, and both of those times you lost, you thought you were going to win. And you definitely think you're going to win next time you play them because that's how they go into their games. And we think we're going to win when we play them and all that sort of stuff. But
most recent game, they flogged us.
Yeah, out of the last 4, we've beaten them twice.
Right, so it's a flip of a coin.
Yeah. So it can go either way. And we've got to better history than them in terms of for and against. Well, not for and against wins and losses and all that sort of stuff. They've tasted a lot of. They've lost in a quarterfinal and a semi-final to us in the past.
Right.
All that sort of stuff. As a South African, are you a little bit happy that you may be playing an understrength French team that you've got a French team without Intermac and without Dupont, or playing an All Black team that you've absolutely pumped recently? Yes, but may have a bit of a point to prove.
Because as much as the All Blacks didn't look great the last time we played the Springboks, and we got pretty well beaten by the French, you still feel like, man, All Blacks on their day, if they show up,
we can beat anyone.
We're going to be a tough team to play.
Yeah.
Even with Fozzie in charge.
They've had some good performances under Foz.
That's the thing they have.
I've gone on like giving Foz like
a bit of credit every now and again.
Not credit, but I'm just gone on a shit-free diet with him. Like I just,
right.
You know what changed me with Foz a little bit? I made it like a hit piece on him basically.
You did.
And then
he called you up and said, Tony,
that really hurt my feelings.
I'm feeling very sad.
I watched, I think we watched a little bit together at NZR Plus in Their Own Words documentary, and he talked about that week, and he said,
he was pretty
he said it was a real tough week. He said, like, I tried to be the coach the team needed me to be, but then I'd go to my room at the end of the night, and it was tough times. And I was just like, when he was in his room being upset and sad human being, like a real guy, I was like, how do I edit Eddie's and Foz's head into some nutsacks? Like, how do I, I was, so I felt guilty about it, to be honest. The video's still up, though, but, poor old Fozzie. But, like, I don't think we're going to win this World Cup. I really, really hope we will. I always think we're going to win the World Cup, though. Have you ever gone into a World Cup thinking, nah, not this time?
Not really. I thought we were going to win the last one.
I thought we were going to win the last one.
We smashed Ireland, and I was like, hey, look at that.
Yeah, and then it was like, England next. Yeah, doable.
Yeah. That should be fine.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, we got, South Africa? Oh, we already beat them. Yeah, like, would have been fine. Yeah. So and this is the thing, like, these pool losses and stuff, we would have had Wales in the semis. A team that hasn't beaten us since 1953.
Yeah.
Imagine
it was a 3-year-old.
Just to quickly circle back to Wales, is Wales, if they now saying that they're a genuine threat of this World Cup?
And I haven't heard many Wales fans saying that, but they want people to stop calling them shit, basically.
We're not shit.
Yeah, we're not that bad.
Yeah, right.
I think there's a bit of a leap, because there seem to be levels at the moment.
There are levels to this.
And the Irish in the box seem to be at the moment at that top level. France, you would have thought are there, but without as many players as they're missing.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? A Gaultier is obviously a very, very, very good coach. So we'll see.
But if you'd said at the start of this World Cup, who's the one guy you don't want to get injured,
Dupont.
it probably would have been Dupont. It's Dan Carter 2011.
And who is the French Beaver? Yeah. What is Beaver in France?
Yeah.
Beaver.
Yeah. They got some good halfbacks, but man, it's brutal. Hopefully he comes back. At least he's not been totally ruled out. But
I felt sorry for the Namibian who did the damage, the captain.
Yeah.
And he put out
He got a bit of abuse.
What's his name?
Daisel, Johan Daisel.
Yeah,
It's just an accident, man.
There was no intent.
There were some people saying, like, why was Dupont playing in that game?
He's got to play. He's
a rugby player. He has to play. He sat out the game before, so he has to play. Dan Carter did his injury in training back in 2011. Exactly. So shit happens.
Shit happens all the time.
It could happen to you. It probably couldn't happen to me because I'm sitting there on my backside.
Well, someone could break your
I could
face.
get hemorrhoids maybe from sitting around.
Exactly.
That's probably the highest
Chronic
risk.
hemorrhoids stopped Mark Morgan from playing for the All Blacks.
Sorry, guys. No, I was more thinking about doing a video. I can't do a video.
Right.
I can't sit still. I have to do it standing up.
Would you do it standing?
If you ever see me standing up in a video.
Hey, folks. Super Rugby 2024. The Hurricanes versus the Highlanders. Or in a game no one gives a shit about.
Scotland, Tonga, you didn't watch it? You saw the highlights?
Yeah, I just saw that was the only one I didn't watch this weekend.
Yeah, you did well.
Yeah. But it looked to me as though I was surprised that Tonga got the lead.
45-17.
And you saw my boy Solomon Akata do the thing?
Yeah. Solomon Akata.
Yeah.
He looked alright, but are Tonga a little bit underwhelming? Can
I give you a quick? Can I have a short tangent?
Interlude,
a short interlude. I just wanted, before we forget, I showed you before. What did I show you before we started?
Your penis.
Yes, but that was to check out a mole, okay?
Okay.
Okay? How that look, by the way?
See a medical professional.
Okay, sure. It was the pus that was a bit weird, wasn't it? But no, I showed
the
you
timestamps.
the alternative timestamps.
They're fantastic.
They're brilliant, and they're by a gentleman by the name of Eric Selholm.
Yeah.
Selholm. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but the guy obviously takes a wee bit of, he watches a podcast that is probably maybe the 100th ranked rugby podcast in the world. So thank you, Eric, just even for being a viewer. We appreciate all of you. But to take the time to make some weird, absurd timestamps,
they're class.
They're very good. They're very good. We appreciate them. You don't feel the pressure to continue making them. I know they take time, but Eric actually has his own channel. There's not a lot of stuff on there.
There's
but
a 10-year-old video on there, which we watched.
There's a 10-year-old video of a little, a little
skit,
film, a little short film,
Yeah.
and the short film is brilliant. It's called, it's not called Get Out. It's called Let's Go.
It's about being
Head
embarrassed,
Off.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, if you go, what's it called? I put it down there. Just Go. It's called Just Go. And if you've ever had a bad, it's only 2 minutes, so go watch it. If you've ever had a bad time at work, which I have, you've had a bad time at work, I think we're going to relate to it. It's got a kind of Ireland meets Curb Your Own Enthusiasm. It has the Wilhelm scream at one point. You know that scream? Yeah, whatever it is. Like it's in Star Wars. In every great film, there's that scream. But you can see it. I'm going to put a card there. And I don't know what time. I'm going to have to find it now. But yeah, I'm going to put a card there to that video. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eric. You're an absolute legend. I hope if he does this, I hope he timestamps his shout out. And if I forgot to put the card up there, I really apologize.
He's slack. He doesn't do it on purpose.
All right, what are we talking about? Scotland, Tonga.
Tonga are a little bit underwhelming. They've got like Sam Losey, former Super Rugby kind of star, Via Fafita, and his brother Lever Fafita.
Did a nasty shot at the
end. He gets a red card at the end of the game, but they got Solomon Akats, they got Charles Piatow, they got Malachi Fekitoa, got Peter Aki, top 14 champion. Jeez, they got some players, man. Ben Tamiafuna. And they're getting pumped 45-17.
Totai
Kefu keeps talking about his name? Oh, we don't have enough games or whatever. Like we didn't get the right prep. Didn't get enough time together, but they've had the whole Pacific Nations Cup.
They played Australia, before
they played Canada a couple of times, which is obviously not the best prep.
What's his coaching pedigree like?
I think he's been with Tonga since like 2017.
Yeah, maybe he's not the coach.
I feel like he's maybe not the coach.
Yeah, because
they should be doing better
in terms of the talent available
and the result.
Ben Tamiafuna scored a great.
He did score a cracking try.
Yeah, lovely looking try.
They need to be doing better than that.
Yeah,
I know their union has no money, and their prep is obviously
very
not
good
ideal.
Commentators. Great
commentators, and they don't have the same resources. They don't have the same prep as everybody else, but they shouldn't be getting beaten 45-17. That's not to take anything away from Scotland. Scotland's a magic side. Great. And basically all their exciting outside back score tries, Duhan got a try, Darcy Graham got a try, Blake Hingham got a try.
Duhan was so quiet against South Africa.
Yeah.
And you're like, to see him like with a bit of space. And it's so sad that in all likelihood, Scotland are very unlikely to get through. Like, what do they? They need to beat Ireland, which is a bloody tough task.
And get the points.
And get bonus points.
Going the right way, yeah.
Yeah, that's
tough ask.
That's going to be a really, really tough ask. But imagine if Ireland somehow, by some sort of strange,
got knocked out in the pool.
Yeah,
I'd have to look at the table.
And be like, well, at least it wasn't a quarterfinal loss, guys. You know, like no, I think, but that's a real shame, mate. I think they're the biggest casualty of these crappy pools.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the casualties are going to be the quarterfinalists. So, but yeah, because if you look at how well England's doing, if you put Scotland into that pool,
Scotland's getting out of pool C or D, I think for sure.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, they're going to beat this Australian team, and they're either going to beat Wales or they beat Wales a number of times this year, didn't they? And I think they're probably going to beat Fiji too. They top that pool. If Wales is topping a pool, Scotland's topping a pool. No offense,
bam.
Yeah. No offense, Wales. No offense. Yeah, but they've been underwhelming. But yeah, great to see Duhan van der Merwe in some space, scoring some nice tries.
Darcy Graham off the bench gets a try. Blake Hingham looks sharp.
Yeah.
Finn Russell pulling the strings like he does. And just Tonga just missing too many. I know it's a good Scottish side, but they were just missing so many tackles, and these are good players.
As I said, it's the one game that I didn't actually catch.
Something is wrong.
Something is wrong. All right, what's next off the rank?
Argentina beat Samoa 19 points to 10. That was not the best watch.
That was a dirge.
Yeah.
That was the worst game. Argentina.
Like, going into this tournament, it's like, Argentina
So
going to top the pool. They're
Argentina
looking magic.
Probably going to get out of the pool, and they're going to be probably playing England.
No, they got England in their pool. They
They played England, didn't they?
Wales. They're basically
Wales is going to get through to a semi-final, which they deserve to, because I love the. Isn't that amazing? Wales through to a semi-final.
Argentina aren't playing good rugby.
They're playing rather stinky rugby.
Like, they beat the Wallabies in the rugby championship, but
the Samoa, in hindsight, and the Samoans are playing poorly as well. That was
that game, they were kept unbelievably quiet. Like, Samoa looked pretty decent against Chile, although in context, like, England put a lot more points on Chile than Samoa did. But yeah, it's another one where I was like, that's a bit underwhelming from Samoa, and also kind of underwhelming from Argentina.
I don't think anybody is.
Nobody's looking at that game going, whew, dangerous.
Don't want to meet them in a quarterfinal. Far out.
One try apiece, I think it was, and then Boffelli with the boot.
Just a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Paia'aua got like a yellow card in like the first minute.
Boffelli looked maybe some.
Yeah, Boffelli looked the best player of the bunch.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot to shout about in that game.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, good defense.
Maybe, hopefully, Argentina can grow into the tournament, because
that's the thing.
They've got a golden ticket out of the.
That's the thing. All you need to do is just be clicking by quarterfinals time. If you can drag your feet through the pool, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why it's so irritating that a team like Scotland isn't in that pool. You know? And Scotland were just by the luck of the draw, unfortunately, in that position.
Gregor Townsend seemed really dejected after that big win over Tonga. Like, just the fact that, I guess because the other results, maybe?
Yeah, well, they would have really needed South Africa to win that game. If South Africa won that game...
Then if they beat Ireland, then they're through. Now it's a maths question, because it'll be like it'll be rock, paper, scissors, right? Because they'll have each won one, lost one, so it comes down to points difference and whatnot.
Bonus points and points diff. But you can't see a world where South Africa or Ireland don't get through. Imagine. Yeah, because that's the thing.
Sports.
Sports. Who's got the best points diff? Oh, do you have that?
Don't have that in hand.
You don't have that.
Did you watch Georgia and Portugal?
I did. Can I tell you about how I watched it? This was not traditional, how I watched it. So, as I started to watch the Portugal game, the game had already started, and I was in a terrible mood.
Were you still full of COVID or no?
No. I wasn't the COVID, but I was dark. I was very upset. I was mourning. My Waratahs, fuck man, Jesus. My Warriors. My Waratahs!
Up the tars.
Up the wars. My fucking Warriors had, biggest game in 10 years, and unfortunately didn't go away. Came up against a red hot a Brisbane team. We played our hearts out, but just didn't go away on the night. And we were comprehensively beaten.
Can I put this into a little bit of context for people? Because people outside of New Zealand must assume that this rugby rabid country is all about the Rugby World Cup right now, but it's not the case.
We've got a different kind of fever.
They've had the Warriors fever.
The
Rugby World Cup has been playing second fiddle to the NRL, the National Rugby League Championship.
The focus will now shift back.
The focus will now shift to the All Blacks, but the fact that the All Blacks have been a bit underwhelming, they lost their opening game, they've beaten Namibia. Like, there's been nothing really to get your teeth into just yet from All Blacks perspective, but the Warriors, like you say, a team, we've only got one league team in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Professional league team, and the fact that they are perennial underperformers finally had a fantastic year.
Brilliant.
They've had so much spotlight put on them. I think I've mentioned it before on the pod that, like, when my son was going to his games, the chat amongst all the parents pre-game was always, did you watch the Warriors? Did you watch the Warriors? Did you watch the Warriors? Like, I'll be honest, I've been a bit of a stick in the mud. I'm getting sicker up the fucking waz. Because it's everywhere. Like, politicians with this election campaign are going, up the waz on their Facebook thing. And, like, the Warehouse, who's like our version of Kmart.
It was a proper movement.
Yeah,
proper movement.
Kmart, like our version
of the movement.
Our version of, I don't mind it, but when the fucking Warehouse is like, up the wires, they blocked out some of their letters to get behind the wires. I'm like, that's a bit much when it's getting corporate.
That's what they do.
I don't like it. It's like, you know, when like a new catchphrase
You're
comes out,
an
like the
old-
bomb, and then like McDonald's is like, try out the bomb spicy chicken or something. You're like, all right, that phrase is dead to the world. When McDonald's starts using that
You are
phrase,
an old man
I'm an old man. I'm a grumpy
shouting
old
in the
man.
wind, old
I
man.
am. Too many people.
I'm the wise.
Too many people were up in the fucking wires, and I was getting sick of that. Like I was loving the Warriors do their thing.
Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't watch the game. No. There's too much rugby
The
union
one,
on.
like it was a massive game.
I did follow the
and,
scoreline.
we scored first, and we were in it for about 20 minutes, and then they went the Broncos played a bit like the All Blacks when the All Blacks just go mental for a bit.
Yeah.
And then did you hear about the
4-part? One of my mates who I hadn't had a text message from ages was like, "Oh, I've just signed up for Sky to watch the Wires. Do you like if you want to share passwords or something, we can." I was like,
Yeah.
"Bro, I've got fucking Sky." I don't know. He knows I have a rugby related YouTube channel. But like I haven't heard from the guy from ages. That's the reason he gets in touch. That just put into context.
So
for
it was
the
a
rugby
massive
rugby
game,
league
and,
fever.
I'm a day one. Since they were established in 1995, I'm a day one fan. Like I watch
96.
95.
Okay.
And I watch every week. I live and die. I get emotional when they win. I get emotional when they lose. They're my team. I love them. I love NRL. I love league. I really do. I love rugby league comparably to how much I love rugby union. I love rugby union a little bit more. But so it was a massive, massive game, and you know this would have got us into the grand final, that sort of stuff, and we didn't quite get there. It didn't go our way that night, and we lost.
Flogged.
And I was devastated. I was just in a real bad, and not obviously like philosophical, but just hurting on the inside.
Right.
Where sport can do that to you.
Yes.
Especially when the movement and all that sort of stuff. And then I was like, I know there's a bloody rugby game on now. I flicked it on, and it was 10-0 to Georgia at the time, and I was like, whoop the effing shit. Like
This is going according to the script.
Okay, they're beating Portugal, whatever. And then I was like, I had a couple of whiskeys. I was like, feeling a little tibbly here. And Lydia was like, you going to bed? I was like, yeah, I should go to bed. And just as I went to bed, a friend of mine texted me, and like in the group chat that I'm in, it was like, oh, that red card the red card from Portugal, that'll mean the score will blow out. So I go in there, going to bed, going, all right, it's gonna be a blowout, absolute blowout. Who gives a shit? And so then I wake up in the morning, I watch the South Africa Ireland game, thoroughly enjoy it. Then I go on to check my Super Brew standings and where I landed and see how did the results sort of go. And then I see the score, 18-all. And I'm like,
What happened here? Look at this blowout.
yeah, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, so then I was like, what? I was like, I'll give this a peek.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and obviously a couple of things happened early on. One of those horrible things that can happen to teams that is sometimes are the better team, Georgia's got their first try way too easy. And I think that was almost their downfall. They played the rest of that half. They were so dominant, but they were playing like every movement was going to lead to a try.
Right.
Like they playing with a
Getting
bit
ahead of
of a tier one arrogance. They were just going to like training run tries in, but they didn't. There was a lot of the amount of possession they had. They didn't. They weren't patient with it. They didn't.
They should have
build
been ahead by a
phases.
lot
They
more.
should have been ahead by a lot more the amount of possession they had, and they didn't. And then, you know, one of these things that we've been waiting for at this World Cup, a bit of World Cup magic happened. Little team got up, got the stir.
crowd
The
was
crowd
behind them.
was
Amazing.
insane.
So many Portuguese
A
fans
game
there.
that I could not have given a rat's ass about last night, that I almost resented because I was in such a bad mood. I was like, this is the greatest game of rugby ever.
Yeah.
But I was still waiting. I was like 20 minutes in, I was like,
Where does this come from? Yeah.
And what's his name? Tortilla or whatever?
Storty, yeah.
Storty. He scored a couple of screamers.
I don't know, but that was like their second time.
Yeah, just-
in the Georgian twins. Like Georgians, like we're gonna score, and Portugal's like, sorry, we scored.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It was
out of
amazing.
nowhere.
It was absolutely freakish.
Yeah.
And I actually saw your review afterwards, and you said you didn't have the thing on the
Yeah,
score. You said, if you haven't watched this game, go watch it, asshole.
Yeah, I didn't write the whiteboard up initially because I
Yeah.
really was like, somehow I watched that game. I think literally 13 hours after it had finished, but I did not get spoiled to it. I managed to look up all the other results without seeing that game. So I genuinely was on the edge of my seat at the end of the game. What the fuck's going to happen? Is Georgia going to get... Oh, Georgia's going to get that last conversion. It's going to be a cruel win. Portugal gets a penalty. Oh, shit, Portugal's going to win it. Oh, it's a fucking draw. Like,
I think for a neutral, you're like, that's kind of fitting. But it was... what it robbed us of was that...
The
great celebration.
Everyone was looking just a bit dejected. The Georgians are like, what have we done? The Portuguese like, oh, God, that's our best chance gone.
Yeah, they were both gutted. They both... Yeah. So
neither felt like a win.
So I thought... Watching that game, I was like, oh, this is going to be great that this ends in a draw, but it actually kind of felt a little bit deflating. I was cheering for Portugal.
Right.
Even
underdog,
though I knew what the
underdog spirit.
Even though I knew what the result was. Yeah. And then my mate, he just assumed that no arms hit directly to the head.
It's going to be red.
I like that the commentator said he was like, that was like it was out of Jurassic Park. Like,
yeah.
That's some pretty funny shit. But how was that not a red?
I don't know. There's been a few of those. The Tonga game,
he just goes in no arms.
The Tonga game, one of the Tongan wingers put a hit on Jamie Ritchie where Jamie Ritchie does bend into the tackle. He carries low.
Yeah, I saw that hit.
He starts upright and then just...
he goes low and he goes up.
Yeah. He's always a bit high, I thought. But anyway, I thought that was red, but it wasn't red. It was yellow.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being lenient, but yeah, I thought because I was assuming it was a red because I got that text message.
Yeah.
Because that's the message to my mate sent. We must have been like, oh, that's a red.
Yeah.
And sent the message just assuming that would be a red.
Yeah.
And then I went in with the knowledge going, definitely there's a red in this game. I know that. I've been told that.
Yeah.
And I thought for half a second thought the ref was going to be like, because he said like, oh, that's terrible. That's not on. I thought he was going to go straight red. Which nobody does anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then he went thing, and I was like, then when he came back on, I was like, what the fuck?
What's going on here? I know nothing about this.
What's going on?
I don't know how this works.
What has happened?
Yeah. That was a cracker.
Yeah, a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, two of the best games happened that day with Ireland and South Africa and Portugal and our friends,
Georgia.
the Georgians.
Bit of a
Portugal
letdown
crowd,
from Georgia because, I mean, your Portuguese with that crowd, I guess... I think I mentioned it last time.
That was a 20-point crowd.
Yeah, well, it's just like when you play in Brisbane or Melbourne and half the fans there are New Zealanders. I guess it's the same thing in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was just... I mean, there were other good travelling fans as well. Like the England fans were pretty out of numbers. The Irish fans, Jesus, there was a lot of Irish fans at the South African game.
Zombie at the end of that game. That was so good.
There were a lot of South African fans there too, but I think the Irish had them by numbers. I mean, geographically that makes sense, but...
So many Wallaby fans looking dejected, leaving early today.
Yeah.
That was gruesome.
It's an expensive trip.
Yeah, tens of thousands. What, you're looking at 20K you're putting down for one of those sort of trips?
Tickets, hotels, flights, man.
Probably booked it all the way through, being optimistic.
Yeah, you booked the quarterfinals for sure.
Yeah, now you're going to go watch freaking Wales play bloody...
Argentina.
Yeah, enjoy that, Australia. Oh, well.
I wish Dave Rennie was in the crowd of that game.
I wish Dave Rennie was still the coach.
Yeah.
I think he's a good coach. Anyway, any other games?
England 71 over Chile 0. It was 0-0 after 20 minutes.
What was amazing about that game? Yeah, exactly. I was like...
And the Chilean fans were also pretty vocal.
And the Chileans were like playing well.
Yeah.
They weren't looking like
they like to just run fucking everything.
Yeah, and that's
to their detriment sometimes.
But that's what I kind of liking about some of these... tier 2s versus tier 1s.
Yeah.
Is they're games of running footy. Like, tier 1s are like, yeah, well, we're just going to put some points on these guys, get our bonus points, and we've got the class to do it. Yeah. And the tier 2s are like, the only way we're going to do this
is miracle shit.
is run through them. So you're looking at really good, fun running rugby. But when you get these uber tier 1 games where it's just like, let's just put as many contestable balls in the air as we possibly can.
True.
So
Henry Arundel scored 5 tries.
Yes.
Equaled an England record.
Yeah, but that irritated me. It was like, he's broken the World Cup record. And then I was like,
Mark
Ellis, excuse me.
Yeah.
Got 6, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, spoken like an English person.
It's hard to know how much to read into that game. It was just nice to see England play some fun rugby.
Yeah, it was good to see them actually run the ball.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Steve Borthwick kind of pisses me off a little bit in his press conferences.
Let me know why.
Like Andy Farrell for England, he is English, but he's for Ireland.
Yeah.
Like when he gets asked a question, he answers pretty directly.
Yeah, I haven't watched much.
He doesn't beat around the bush, and like if it's a stupid question, he'll kind of say like, "Well, that's irrelevant. We don't worry about that." But he'll answer Genuinely. Sometimes a bit curtly, but genuinely.
Yeah.
Whereas Steve Borthwick, like, they asked him the difference between, like, what is Marcus Smith going to bring in? I think it was the pre-match one. Like, well, he's a fullback instead of Freddie Stewart.
Yeah.
Like, Freddie Stewart, big fucking lump of a guy who loves catching high balls.
Yeah.
Marcus Smith, a guy who usually plays 10, playmaking genius, plays it. Like, couldn't be much more different in terms of their playing styles.
15.
And Steve Borthwick must have given an answer for over a minute. And he might as well have just said no comment.
Really?
Because he was just like blah blah blah. They love playing for their country. Blah. I can't remember what he said because it was just all bullshit.
Yeah,
like, why not just say like, oh, we want to see what he can bring with his.
Steve Borthwick's face bores me. Like, I look at him and I'm like, that looks like a boring man. Like, it's hard to be excited about it. Like,
I mean, obviously
but maybe he's media trained and it's like you don't give them anything.
Maybe that's just what it is.
I'm going to stop you for a second. I know we've got the games to preview of the week, and I've got my bladder is like, man, you need to piss.
You broke the seal.
Yeah, I broke it.
Oh, you're about to break the seal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I might have already. Oh, not on my. This sounded like I just pissed myself, didn't it? Okay, let's cut back in here.
Where did we get up to?
We were talking about
England
rugby.
and Chile. Oh, Borthwick's a bit boring.
Yeah, he's boring.
I mean, honestly, I don't care if he's a bit boring.
Maybe he doesn't have boring face. He looks like somebody's been
the
through
results
some
are more important than what he says in the bloody press conferences.
Yeah,
Certainly,
exactly.
he's not the first guy. I don't expect him to entertain me, but can you at least give a shorter and straighter answer instead of just faffing about?
What did he actually say?
I don't remember because it was just all bullshit.
Okay, I'll play the.
No, we don't need to do that.
I'll play the press gallery. You play Borthwick. So, Steve, obviously there was some positional changes today. You chose to go with Marcus Smith at 15. Usually you have Stewart back there. What was the thinking behind that?
All the players we've chosen for this team want to play for England, and they'll all, as part of a squad, put out their best performance they can to make sure England get a win.
Specifically, though, Stewart and Smith, two very different sort of styles of play.
Well, Marcus has trained at fullback really well, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the game. And Freddie's played the last two games. Time to give him a bit of a break.
Do you see those two as like interchangeable parts because they got very different styles of play?
They love playing for their country. They only get two questions in the press conference. Then the media person cuts you off. No more follow-ups.
Yeah, no more follow-ups.
Yeah,
you handled that very well, Steve.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got too much hair to be old Steve.
Oh, Borthwick.
But what do you think about all these games like the freaking 96-0, the 71-0?
Not good.
Not good look for the game, right? At a World Cup, that's not what you want to be seeing.
No, it's...
As much as I love seeing the Chilean fans there, them getting pumped by 70 points, not great.
No, it's not great.
And
but,
the Chilean coach was kind of pissed off after, like very kind of blamey, like we don't get enough games.
Yeah. Well,
which they're right to a degree, but then also the interest level's not always there.
It's about the dollar bill. And you wouldn't see that at a football World Cup. You don't see 12-0 droppings.
Not really.
You know, like if that happens, it's like a 5-0 is massive. You know, like
like when the All Whites, which is our football team, drew with Italy.
It was the biggest deal ever.
We thought we'd won the bloody World Cup based on that performance.
Yeah. They were the reigning champions at the time.
Yeah,
we drew with them.
Would have been like would that have been similar level to like I don't know?
That would be like Papua New Guinea drawing with.
Would that have been like us drawing with Namibia the other day?
Yeah,
instead of pumping them by
in terms
70.
of the world rankings, maybe.
Yeah.
Like we're not. What are we ranked in the world? New Zealand, the All Whites.
Oh,
the All Whites.
Geez, I don't know. I don't follow.
You don't do a weekly
power rankings for the football, no.
World rankings.
But I mean, they're in a similar position. They don't get the games against the big teams that they would like to get.
And the
clubs don't always release them.
FIFA are just talking about putting more teams, making it a bigger tournament. It's always a big because
some people argue the Rugby World Cup should be 24 teams.
What, to have a round of 16?
Yeah.
But we don't have the talent. Like we don't.
We're getting with the amount of teams we've got. We got 96-0, 40 to 40 to 6 was actually two tier one.
I think we grow the game. We try and support it. Like these teams are coming up. It is, but there's 145-0, 95. Well, no, 145-12 or something like that. Yeah. When the All Blacks beat Japan in 95, and Japan have got up now and beaten the likes of South Africa in that time, beaten Scotland. You know, and been knocking on the door of tier one. So there can be growth, and it starts at the World Cup.
Well, I mean, the Chilean captain after the game said, like, look, a couple of years ago we were playing USA and get beaten 70 points.
Yeah, right.
Like now we beat the USA to get here, but when you're playing England and get beat by 70 points.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all, you know.
We've got to get growth in the sport, really.
But there seems to be a bit more of the focus. Like if there's the balance on, like let's just get more tier one because that makes money, and let's like grow the game globally at the cost of some finances. I feel like we're still more this way.
Yeah.
I'm gesticulating, despite the fact this is a podcast, which some people can't see my hand.
Called
2 cents gets distracted.
Which you can find on various...
I was using my hand to represent like the sides of the scale.
A spectrum.
A spectrum, yes. I was pointing more towards the financial end rather than the global growth of the game end.
Yes.
For the listeners.
And now we're going to go into the World League. So
first, can we just go? There was one more game which I don't remember much about because it was the first game, which was Italy-Uruguay this week. Oh. It was 38-7.
I think I watched that.
I watched it, but I don't remember much about it at all. I remember the Italians were a bit disappointing. Capuzzo didn't do that much. I think Monte Ioane was the star of the show.
Yeah, so he scored a try.
Yeah.
And Uruguay...
And Lamaro was good.
Paraguay didn't do particularly well.
No, Paraguay didn't do that well at all.
It was like they weren't even there.
Yeah, exactly.
Uruguay didn't look like they showed as much heart as they did when they played France the week before.
Yeah.
It must be hard when you're like...
Michele Lamaro was good.
When you're a tier 2 team like them, and maybe not even one of the more stronger tier 2 teams. Well, they did a good showing against France for a moment. Let's give them that. You kind of got to play your A team every week, don't you? You don't get to rotate your squad. Like they get the same amount of players, but do you think there is an element of...
Namibia rested some of their players against France because they...
Like, we're not going to win this.
We're not going to win this, and we've got a big game next. So let's just save some of the big guns.
So they're targeting their game against Italy?
Against Uruguay.
Oh, right. So
because they've never had a World Cup win.
And that's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, yes, that was Italy-Uruguay.
Not Paraguay.
Details. Upcoming games this week, Uruguay-Namibia. That's the big one for both those teams to get their win.
It's Uruguay's game to win that one.
Okay. Then the next day is Japan-Samoa, which is a big game for both teams because both teams have lost a game. Yes, Japan lost to England. They've both lost a game.
Yeah.
Whoever loses is out.
I think both of those teams aren't going to make it through.
You got a winner for that one? Samoa won at the Pacific Nations Cup.
I think Japan are going to win that.
You reckon Japan's going to win that?
Yeah.
New Zealand are playing Italy.
Actually, very important game.
It is. It's a knockout game for us. The Italians can still drop it and have a chance to survive if they beat the French.
So they won't be that into it.
No, they're not going to be committed.
Yeah.
They might rest a few players.
Is there a chance that... Okay, so I've been liking what are the noises that they were making. The All Black team, All Black squad, this in their bye week. They're saying this is a final for us. We know it's a must win. We're not under... They've got a very talented squad.
Yeah.
You know, they can beat anyone on their day. We've seen that. We've got to do everything.
Saying the right things.
Yeah, they're making the right noises. But hopefully that actually comes through in a really quality performance and we put 80 points on them. I just want a bonus point win out of that. Because I've got a sneaky... I know if we win that game, we're almost assured passage, right?
Barring an Italian miracle over the French.
That's right. So, but the French are just... I still like, the French.
With all the injuries.
The injuries, and they just get a little bit... But then the French, and then I thought, those French, and they'd do that to us. They'd love that. And then I was like, actually, that would put them in the shit, because then we'd all be on this one loss, you know. So they'll be doing everything they can to win. Yeah. So I think we should win that game, hopefully with a bonus point. Hopefully. Okay. But I feel a little... I almost don't want to watch it. I just want to pick up a newspaper afterwards. A newspaper like, what am I, in the 1950s?
You want to feel that ink on your hands.
Yeah, just look at her go. 53-3 to Italy. What?
Fozzie! Argentina is playing Chile, which is a big game just because I think at World Cup time it's the first time we've had two South American teams playing each
neighbors.
Other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Argentina's a bit wider. Chile's kind of long and thin.
Like your penis. But you know what's amazing about your penis? It is thin, but it's also very short. It's actually like...
mountainous.
It's like a tiny chode. It's very weird.
There you go. It's the quality content people tune in for.
Who's going to win that? Argentina should take
I can't wait to see the timestamp on that one. Yeah, Argentina should win that one.
Yeah.
Fiji, Georgia.
Fiji, Georgia. Hopefully Fiji don't banana skin that game.
Yeah, a lot of people are
They should
of the opinion that the last 2 games Fiji have got, they're going to get maximum points for both games. They're going to flog Georgia. They're going to flog Portugal, which they might well do.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's quite the foregone conclusion people are saying it's going to be.
You'd like them to go into that game and just play like the better team.
Yeah,
and win.
Fiji, I think, usually beats Georgia. So, Scotland, Romania, that'll be a hiding. Australia, Portugal, maybe Eddie Jones has got a chance to get a win.
He gets his second win out of 8 games, I think.
And it'll be Georgia and Portugal that he's beaten. What a tenure. That's worth every dollar.
Are they gonna keep him on? You reckon?
Every dollar he do.
He get paid out for 5 years for 2 wins against.
I feel
minnows.
like there's a clause where like they can let him go after this World Cup. I'm pretty sure there's an out.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Because he's talked about like he's not sure if he's in it for
and
the next 4
Japan.
years.
What are you thinking of if you want to get this guy back? You just cut him loose.
Did I talk about it about how he gets buy-in more from the Japanese players? Did we talk about that?
Because he's a
no.
strict authoritarian.
Yeah, because I watched one of the former England players was on a podcast talking about how like the Japanese players are more just like if the coach says jump and they say, well, how high?
So they're honor bound to.
Yeah, basically. I don't know if it's honor bound, but they're like just
All of a sudden, I've made them all.
you're all samurais.
Samurais.
Freaking, got katanas in their backpacks. Well, they do freaking give katanas to everybody now.
Yeah.
Little gift giving thing. But yeah, like the Japanese guys would be more likely to deal with his all his bullshit basically. Whereas like a lot of other teams like England, like he tells the guys to go do 3 hours of training and they're like, fuck you.
Yeah,
no,
you're
we're
gonna do it with us.
yeah. So
Yeah, right.
maybe he's getting a bit of that. Maybe that's why he wanted to get rid of all the veterans from the Aussie squad. He wanted all the youngsters who were just going to do as they're told.
Maybe.
Don't know. And then South Africa, Tonga.
South Africa, Tonga. South Africa should squeeze it with Tonga because South Africa looking pretty shaky these days. I'm putting it out there to piss you omost
Sometimes people take you a little bit too literally.
I get a lot of. I don't know if most South Africans are great, but there are a few that just struggle a little bit with a little bit of sarcasm. Or
Maybe it's a second language thing.
you reckon?
Maybe.
They speak English.
Some stuff gets lost in translation.
Yeah. I've been accused a lot of being a South African hater. In the
Next
comment
week
section.
I might bring. I was going to ask you. Do Irish people actually drink Jamesons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been having. I had some of the old South African brandy.
Oh yeah.
Some of the Clippies.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, it's not bad.
Was it good? Was it?
Should have brought the old Clippies with me instead of the Windhoek.
Well, the Windhoek was alright. The Northern Great Northern.
It was not great.
A miss.
Yeah, but I've got some Castle Lager that I can bring next week.
Yeah.
South African beer. Although
the Fiji
South Africans say they would rather drink Windhoek than Castle Lager.
Right.
Like Castle Lager is the sponsor, but they would rather a bit of Windhoek. So,
Windhoek.
Yeah, don't know.
Willie LaRue likes Windhoek.
Yeah, W's are V's. That's the way that works. So do Irish people do drink Jamesons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it's like everyone assumes like it's the most famous
You thought
Irish
it was
whiskey.
like the Aussies Fosters. Like no one in Australia drinks Fosters.
it, but it's like everywhere abroad sells that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was wondering if it was like that.
Maybe.
Maybe I get me some Jamesons as well.
Yeah. I've got a number of whiskies in there. I just finished a couple of Irish single malts.
Okay.
So this weekend
Not Scottish single malts, eh?
a Scotch.
Not like a Lafroig or a Lagavulin.
I think I have a Lafroig in there.
That's top shelf.
I'm a classy gent.
News to me. What else was I going to say? How much time we got? The TV footage thing.
TV footage. What are we talking about?
Have you noticed that the likes of a Squidge Rugby and Rian Lu and basically anody who's using any kind of like 5 seconds of footage is getting the bam?
And it's a real shame because I have used footage in my content in the past, and I haven't done this World Cup.
God's sake, don't use any World Cup footage.
Yeah, and it's a shame because all we are doing by doing that, and the content creators that do that, is creating
advertising,
creating more interest, creating more intrigue and more. Like, I'm just finding more ways to say interest, basically.
Analysis, opinions,
getting people vested.
Key events and stats.
Far more likely to click on the game when it comes up. You're like, oh, I've heard multiple different opinions.
This guy's talked about, like, Squidge has given a deep down on, like, Portugal rugby. I would like to see them play now that I know a bit about them. Because when you know a team, you're more likely to watch
100%.
them.
Like, I really appreciated... a lot of Squidge's stuff is wasted on me because I'm too dumb to get it.
Me as well.
But, like, I really appreciated his deep dives that he did on Chile.
Yeah, for sure.
The stuff he does on... even the stuff he does on Tonga and Samoa and all
I
those
was
things.
watching some of Wildcard stuff, and people in the comments were like, I've been following the Wallabies since I've seen your passion for them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you get me into that team.
And not every freaking rugby show has to have 3 bonehead, like, former rugby players in it. Like, neither of us are former... I played rugby, but I wasn't a rugby player of any note.
Well, you're not.
No. I'm sick that the only people that can have opinions about the game. Obviously, it's a great opinion to have when you've got somebody
who can talk about.
But
their
fan
experience.
opinions are great too. They can have some great analysis. Squidge does a great job. Rian does a great job. You do a great job. Like, I think the rugby analyst, he does a really, really good job.
Yeah.
Zach from Haka Time, all these guys, like, and if they had footage to play with and to work with, it's only going to grow your brand. Sorry if I didn't mention.
They're not showing full match replays. It's just clips.
Aggie, he did some really good stuff. Really
exactly
good.
right.
Connor loves rugby. I'm trying to name everyone I can think of.
Andrew Ford does highlights packages, but not of the World Cup.
So sick. It's like it's not like awesome sick. Like, just crap. Like, get your head out of your ass, World Rugby. Like, we're trying to grow your game.
I would imagine it's just they've employed a company to protect their copyright, and those companies just go after it like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
Like, they are judged on their success by, like, how many copyright strikes did you guys issue? Or how many channels, how many videos did you bring down?
I think,
like, someone's doing a prepresentation with, like, we got, 74 videos today. Like, we smashed them.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't know. Maybe that is one thing, but there's a number of like World Rugby vlog type shows, basically, with former players going around like the cities and doing stuff, and the NZR Plus things and all that sort of crap, and they're kind of made for internet sort of stuff. So they're like, well, we make that content, we control that content, and they can use the footage because we own the footage. Why would we let people use the footage who are essentially competitors to that product that we're actually making?
Right.
But there is so much more of a broad market of people trying to get into the game. It's about getting people into the game. They're like emus, man. Well, not the emus. They're just basically, if you got your head up your ass, you can't see where you're going. And on this issue, World Rugby, you have your head up your fucking ass. Getting Rian for 5 seconds of his thing. 5 seconds. It's just,
I'm pretty sure that's fair use, but you have to go to court to prove
But this is the whole thing. This is all you can legally in any documentary or anything else. This is why when you see the news and they take footage from like sports coverage from other things, it's totally in there because it's fair use and it's legally bound and it's fine because you can comment and critique other content. You can't show it in its full format, but we're also small. Like, do we want to get lawyers? Do we want to have to?
Because you would have to go to court to prove it.
But have to spend tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to win this sort of stuff, and and they know that, so they can just by the time you actually fight that battle, the World Cup's over, and you're completely screwed. So they're just being bullshit bully assholes basically, and they're making it worse for the fans. They're giving a very monolithic, boring opinions on the game, and they need to control everything. And it's total bullshit.
I would imagine there are people in the World Rugby media team who agree with that opinion, but it's just the legal people who are. I
don't know.
This is our stuff. Yeah. We need to protect our stuff.
Copyright.
Yeah, basically.
But it's not. There is a permissible part of it under fair use, which makes it absolutely fine to do it. And that's exactly what someone like Squidge does when he goes deep dive analysis and critiquing. It's written into that law. It's
transformative, which is one of the criteria for fair use.
It's bollocks.
Anyway,
screw you, World Rugby. There goes my chances of getting the old World Rugby call-up. We were going to get it any day now, I think.
Any day. Along with that Great Northern Beer sponsorship. Down the shitter.
Gone. Well, Mark, that's another week of rugby. It's another podcast. First time we've done it in person for a while.
It's been a while.
Yes.
I prefer it.
I prefer it too.
In person.
Yes. That's how I like things, in person. But yeah, another week to come and a lot of... When's our first game? Thursday night?
Yeah, Thursday night for
The
us.
games creep up on me. That Thursday night game.
Uruguay and Namibia, Thursday, 4:45 in the morning.
I don't think I'll wake up for that one.
I'll probably watch it delayed.
You don't know any of the results even when you watch those games?
I did get spoiled for Chile against England because I was looking up the stats for the other game and I just saw it out of the corner of my eye and I was like, fuck!
Yeah, I saw that too. And then I was like...
Then I watched the first 20 minutes and I was like, wait, did I see that wrong?
When did they get all those points?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they got 30 points in the last 20 minutes of that first half. So, yeah.
It happens.
Does happen. All right, Mark, well done. You did the lady shake on me again, man.
It's not a lady shake.
No, you grip. You got to go into the slot.
Where is the slot? There's footage of this.
You grab my fingers and you squeeze them together. And
I just have a big hand.
You make me feel like a little late. No, this is fine.
Okay. That was more of a slide.
And then you when I'm going in, you prematurely squeeze, and then you squeeze there, and now I'm like, oh, my leash.
If I get COVID on this hand, I'm blaming you.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. We really do appreciate it.
Take care,
and subscribe.
Folks. It's a podcast. It's on Spotify.
Yes. All those things.